Hi, everybody. Good to see you this morning. Brenda, thank you. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meeting House of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual journey for truth and meaning. We are so grateful to be able to live stream this morning's service to all of you at home. My name is Mary Abt. I'm the music director here at the UUMH, and today I get to be your worship host. Thank you. I love this place. It's great to be with you. Our minister, Rev. Kate, is off today. Her family celebrates the 4th of July on the 3rd of July. What a great idea. Our guest preacher this morning is our wonderful board president, Will Hildreth. Will does so much behind the scenes, and we thought it would be nice to have him up in front, so to speak. Thank you, Will. Before we begin, there are a few announcements to share. Our food pantry, you'll see a little, what would you call that? A little pantry right outside the church. And it's low on just about everything, including peanut butter. How can you go without peanut butter? We do not need a cup of noodles, I call them oodles of noodles, pasta, or Boost. After today's service, we invite you to join us for coffee and conversation out on our beautiful lawn. Now's the time in our service where we make covenant with one another. We'll take just a moment to affirm our meeting house, and I'll say a line, and if you would, say it back to me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another.
And to help one another.
Now it's time to light our chalice. And as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you joining us from home to light a candle wherever you are. In this way we can feel connected, even while we're apart. And a reading by Eckhart Tolle called Stillness Speaks. Whenever there is some silence around you, listen to it. That means just notice it. Pay attention to it. Listening to silence awakens the dimension of stillness within yourself. Because it is only through stillness that you can be aware of the silence. See that in the moment of noticing the silence around you, you are not thinking. You are aware, but not thinking.
morning.
Good morning.
Please join us now in the spirit of prayer and meditation. If you have a joy or a sorrow on your heart this morning, you're welcome to light a silent candle during the prayer or at any time during the service at the table to the right of the pulpit. There's a journal there where you can record your thoughts and prayers. I grew up in a Quaker community, so in keeping with the tradition of Quaker worship, I'd like to observe a moment of silent worship this morning instead of a spoken prayer.
A reading by Amy Lowell. Listening. 'Tis you that are the music, not your song. The song is but a door which, opening wide, lets forth the pent-up melody inside. Your spirit's harmony, which clear and strong, sing but of you. Throughout your whole life long, your songs, your thoughts, your doings, each divide this perfect beauty, waves within a tide, or single notes amid a glorious throng. The song of earth has many different chords. Ocean has many moods and many tones, yet always ocean. In the damp spring woods, the painted trillium smiles, while crisp pine cones autumn alone can ripen. So is this one music with 1,000 cadences. Now we've come to the time where we take a collection for the ongoing support of our beautiful meeting house and the shared ministry that we all are a part of. As we enjoy a musical reflection, thank you, Diane, we welcome your donations through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org. And whether you give online or through other ways, we are so grateful for your support.
We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This quote is attributed to the Greek philosopher Epictetus. The value of this advice is clear, but it's also very challenging to put into practice. When I first read this quote, I thought immediately of the satirical humorist Fern Lebowitz, who famously said, "The opposite of talking isn't listening, it's waiting." Though obviously not good advice for heartfelt engagement, sometimes Leibowitz's description of listening feels a little more like how the world really operates. It's in those moments of waiting rather than listening where we lose one another, where we disconnect. To me, the challenges of engaged listening are what is at the core of this dilemma of disconnection that we experience. This is true even when I love and value the person I'm talking with, and even when I earnestly want us to be in deep communion. There are 1,001 ways the modern world reinforces our inattention. The dopamine rush of social media, the constant barrage of advertising, the frenzied pace of the 24/7 news cycle. To make matters worse, my mind is naturally prone to racing. Often when I'm in conversation, I find that my thoughts have skipped ahead or gone somewhere else entirely. Did I remember to get the eggs? What time was that dentist appointment? Or the worst, why did my phone just ping? Wait, what did you say I might respond? As if awakening from a momentary dream. Disconnection. There's a tool that I find invaluable in breaking this cycle, and that tool is finding stillness within myself. You've probably experienced this. In the most rewarding conversations, it's often the moments between the words that carry the greatest weight. The deepest connection, where we reveal and share ourselves most truly. I think of these moments as soul bridges. The Buddhist monk and spiritual teacher Thich Nhat Hanh described this focused engagement with another as deep listening. In describing it, he said that deep listening was a form of compassion, that we listen with the goal of reducing the suffering of another. You listen with one purpose, to help the other person empty their heart. I first became aware of the power of this when I was caring for my mother during her illness with cancer. She was dying. She told me she didn't have the energy to visit with one of her dearest friends. Her friend, although much beloved, couldn't sit with the silence between them. My mom needed that silence to empty her heart. To find a place of stillness, to let go. She didn't blame her friend for this. She said it was perfectly human. She knew it was hard to sit with the inevitability of loss. We live in a world that works daily against our capacity to sit quietly and listen. Like any spiritual discipline, listening is a practice, and one that's easily forgotten in the hurly-burly of life. Having grown up in a Quaker community, finding connection in silence and stillness isn't unfamiliar to me, but it's still something I have to consciously attend to. For those who may not be familiar with Quaker worship, Quakers seek connection with spirit in communal meditation, sitting quietly together in what is often described as expectant waiting for the guidance of spirit. When I was young, quite young, we'd be taken to meeting for worship for very short interludes at the beginning of each meeting. Sitting quietly doesn't come easily to kids. But the practice of sitting briefly each week built my capacity to be with silence. I'm very grateful for that. I'm often struck by how much our world abhors a vacuum. We rush to fill any available space. Whether it's in the garden, on our desks, or in conversation with one another. We've all experienced times when someone will announce a moment of silence, usually to commemorate a loss or a transition of some kind. It's always astonishing how fleeting these moments are. They're treated as a nanosecond of awkward discomfort to be sprinted through and put behind you as quickly as possible. What would happen if we truly sank into those quiet moments? For many years, my mother had a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh posted on our family refrigerator. It said, "Each time we come back to the present moment, we make ourselves available." This is the essence of compassionate listening. It makes us truly available to the other and gives them the space to empty their heart. For me, finding stillness is an antidote to a disconnected and chaotic world. The practice also helps me manage my tendency toward reactivity. To pause and find a moment of stillness reduces the urgency that I feel to respond. It increases the chance that my response will be kind and truthful. This is a gift, this stillness. Here on our own meeting house board, during the challenging conversations, which we've had a lot in the last couple of years, I've often seen members of the board pausing to breathe, to close their eyes and find a moment of stillness in the midst of the complicated conversation that we're having. It always feels as if something profound is entering the room in those moments. Process is enriched by it. It's easy for me to get perfectionistic about this practice. I can fool myself into thinking I need the luxury of unbroken time, or to hear the trees rustling in the piney Cape woods. Or I have to find just the right moment, just the right expanse of sun-dappled beach to find that stillness. And yes, we live in a lovely place to find stillness. But the truth is, we don't have to look that far. Stillness is always with me, waiting with abiding patience for me to invite it in. We can find the stillness in each moment, in each breath, in each conversation. We just have to remember to pause, to invite it in. It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It could be a topic of dinner conversation tonight, conversation out on the lawn after service, or a question to pose to friends during the week. If you'd like to delve deeper into this question, you can join us on Zoom on Tuesday at 5 for Zoom coffee hour. If you need that link, please just ask after the service. So here's the question of the week. How do you find stillness? How do you find stillness? Thank you for joining us this morning. Blessed be.